What is up, friends and family, everybody out there? Will here wanted to take a few minutes, come on here and share something that I found very interesting and um, definitely on time. It's amazing how God can give you something that's not only interesting, not only incredible, but also on time. And maybe not on time for you, maybe it's on time for someone else. That's the importance of sharing the gospel. But I want to come on here and you guys got to forgive me. I keep saying that I'm going to be more consistent with these Wednesday midweek fill-ups, and God's working on me. I'm a work in progress. So yeah, just pray for me. But without further ado, I was over last night. We're doing some baseball stuff with the kids, and we were over at my buddy Donnie's house. And if you guys know Donnie, you've ever been to his house, his property, man, he's got just a beautiful house on a lake and all this land. And we were over there playing and doing some stuff, and we got ready to leave, and he stopped me in the car. He pointed out, he says, "Hey, did you see?" I cut back all my bushes. He's got this really nice house, but he's got all these bushes that just cover the front of his house. And when they grow, they cover the windows. They touch almost the top of the house or the beginning of the roof. And he said, I went ahead and just cut them all back and got them looking good. I could see the windows now. And I was like, oh, he said, this is probably the thing I hate doing the most. This is the one thing I dislike doing outside. He doesn't mind. I guess he doesn't mind the cutting, doesn't mind the weeding, doesn't mind the blowing, doesn't mind the edging. All that stuff is okay. He did said, this is the one thing I dislike doing the most is cutting back the bushes. And I got in the car and I started heading out. And I started thinking about it last night and this morning. It was still in my head, just what he said. I don't know if he meant to make it like a parable, but it turned into something that made me think about it. This morning I got up and I started praying, and I turned to John 15, and this is what Jesus says. This is red letters. In John 15, he says, I am the true vine, and the Father is my gardener. He cuts off every branch that does not produce fruit. He cuts off every branch that does not produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit so that they will produce even more. If you have already been pruned, and you have already been pruned for greater fruitfulness by the message that I, talking about Jesus, have given you. And he says this in verse 4, remain in me, and I will remain in you. For the branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful apart from me. And I started thinking about this morning, man. I started thinking about what Donnie said, that he hates the cutting back of the bushes. He hates the pruning of the bushes, and that's not fun. Nobody likes the pruning. Nobody likes the cutting. That's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's hurtful. Sometimes it's painful. But Jesus says, I'm going to cut off everything that does not produce fruit. Well, what's the fruit? It's found in Galatians 22. The fruit is joy, it's love, it's peace, it's kindness, it's self-control, it's gentleness. All these things are fruits. And Jesus says, if it does not produce fruit, I'm cutting it off. And that can be painful. Whether it's someone in your life, whether it's something in your life, whether it's something that, a situation or a circumstance, if it's not producing these things, Jesus says, I'm going to cut them off. And he says, the things that do produce fruit, he says, I'm going to prune those back. And that still gets a little uncomfortable, because if I have joy, if I have love, if I have peace, if I have kindness, if I have self-control, Jesus says, I'm going to prune those back, not as punishment, not as a disciplinary action. I'm going to do it so that more will come from it, so that you can have more love, so that you can have more peace. So if you're going through some of those times that are uncomfortable, maybe they're painful, maybe they're just lonely, these times in your life, and you say, Jesus, what's going on? I thought I did everything right. Maybe he's just pruning you so that you can have more down the line. Or maybe you've got some of these toxic relationships, or you got some toxic things going on in your life, maybe some toxic people, or maybe some toxic situations, and you just don't know what to do. You gotta be able to just throw your hands up and say, okay, Jesus, I'm releasing this to you. Cut where you need to cut, prune where you need to prune. So I found that very, very interesting this morning, because it's uncomfortable. It hurts. It's painful. We don't like it. And I'll finish it up with this. He told me, he says, I took those dead branches, the ones that he cut off. He said, I took those dead branches and I bundled them up and he threw them into his lake so that the fish can make a house in that. So for you, maybe this is just way off in left field, but for me, it shows that God can take these hurts and these pains and these regrets and these sorrows and these guilts and all these things that he's cutting away, that he's pruning away, and I believe he can make something incredible happen in your life. So I pray that blesses you guys. If not, it blessed me. So thanks for listening for 6 minutes. So love you guys. God bless you. We'll talk to you next time. See ya.